What's up, guys? It's Addy here, back with another video. And first off, thanks so much for all the support. And we're growing really fast. And if you're new here, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, all that great stuff. And yeah, let's get right into this. I'm really hyped about this news. Personally, I think it's great for all sides, Cleveland, Chicago, and Dwyane Wade, to reach a buyout. And if you guys don't know what a buyout is, I'll go over that briefly. Basically, a buyout is when a player who's already under a contract, obviously in this case it's Dwyane Wade, and with the Chicago Bulls, he just opted into his contract, but as he's already been, it's obvious that the Bulls are going to rebuild, and Jimmy Butler is gone to the Timberwolves. If they want, the Bulls and Dwyane Wade can reach a buyout agreement where they pay some portion of his salary for the next year to him directly, and then he can go off to free agency. It's basically a sense of waiving a player off your team. So I'm sure you guys are familiar about teams waiving players that are really bad or contracts that are awful. I mean, players get waived all the time, but not Dwyane Wade players, players that are usually much worse. So Chicago's definitely going to have to reach an agreement with him. And so once they reach that agreement and pay him the money, he can come to the Cleveland Cavaliers, or in this sense, any team he wants that wants to sign him. He'll basically be a free agent, until he joins a team, and he'll definitely do that early. There's a lot of options for Dwyane Wade here, and this buyout I really think is beneficial for him because, I'm sure he has a return back to his, original team in his mind, going back to Miami. But, he's at the point, 35 years old. He's still a very solid player. He averaged like 18 points a game last year. He's a very, very good player, and everybody probably has that in mind. It's not just Miami and Cleveland that'll go after him, but those are probably the most sensible places for him. And looking at Chicago, they're probably they're trying to rebuild now. It's pretty obvious, with the trade for Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn, Lauri Markkanen. These are guys that are obviously very young, gonna develop over the years, and Chicago believes in them, and they're definitely in a rebuild mode. And if I'm Chicago, I'm trying to be a really bad team for the next year, and maybe that trade was part of that, because if you're Chicago, you want to really blow this year off so you can try to get Michael Porter or Marvin Bagley or something. This year's draft, the 2018 draft, is probably going to be really stacked. There's a lot of great players, but if I'm Chicago, I'd probably try for like Michael Porter. Try to get a top 5 pick, because clearly they're gonna need it. And if you're rebuilt, it just makes sense to get rid of Dwyane Wade, because they'll obviously get worse, and just get rid of every obstacle that could make you somehow a good team. I'm not saying Dwyane Wade will carry him to a very good position, but Wade's a guy who can score 20 a night, on a team that it's just him. I believe that Dwyane Wade still has it in him to score 20 a night on a team that's his, and Chicago will be his if he's there. So I think it's just in their interest to get rid of a guy who could somehow even bring them to like a 10th seed. If I'm Chicago, I really want to just blow this year off and try to get the best result out of it, because that's what a lot of teams do, purposely lose to get good assets. And Chicago's, they haven't had a top pick in years. I mean, the last time they had a first pick was Derrick Rose, which is like a long time ago. I think it was like 2010, or I don't know. You guys can correct me, but it's been a long time. And Dwyane Wade's, again, I already said this, but he's at the age where his career is kind of at a stalemate. He's a very good player, and he plays amazing for his age, but he's definitely not going to get paid, the way he would be if he was like 23 right now. So he definitely has that in consideration. And Cleveland is a great place for him to go, because he fits in real well. Everyone already knows that LeBron and Wade are like brothers. They have this different connection on the field, and it's like it's just something different to watch, and we've seen it in Miami, and obviously they've grown older, but that chemistry doesn't just go away. It's clear that if he signs with the Cavs right now, there's definitely going to be a great chemistry aspect to it, and they just got Derrick Rose, who's, again, he's a young guy. Derrick Rose is like 28 years old, and it wasn't a very expensive contract to get him. It makes sense for the Cavs to go for D Wade because it's another solid player who, again, can average definitely over like 12 points a game if you give him the minutes. And for Wade, it's obvious that he's not going to average 20 a game and be the next option. It'll probably be like the fourth option, maybe even the fifth option, depending on how well Derrick Rose plays. Obviously it'll be LeBron first, then Kyrie if Kyrie stays, which again I'll get to in a little bit. But if Kyrie stays, and then if you go to Kevin Love, obviously, because even though people always doubt Kevin Love, I feel like even with these guys added, I still think he's that third option. Kevin Love's a solid player no matter what you say. So Kevin Love will definitely be up there in the third, at least for the third option, scoring-wise. And then you got Derrick Rose and Dwyane Wade, who can battle it out for fourth or whatever, depending on how well they play. It's just, and now I go to the Kyrie aspect of this. Signing Dwyane Wade would be very helpful. If the Cavs if they do want to get rid of Kyrie and they're going that route, adding Dwyane Wade could be a great choice because it puts some leverage down on the does LeBron stay aspect of it, because LeBron and Wade are so close. It definitely gives LeBron at least 1 year to rethink whether he wants to leave or doesn't want to leave. I just think this would be a very good choice to make on Cleveland's part, because they're not exactly best friends with LeBron right now, and this would definitely mend their relationship a little bit. And clearly Cleveland and LeBron are not at good terms right now, and as the news keeps coming out, every week it's something going wrong with Cleveland, and it's something. This is something that is a sure thing that will work to kind of benefit your team and put LeBron in a better mood. I'm not saying signing Dwyane Wade will solve all your problems, or signing Dwyane Wade will automatically just keep LeBron on your team forever, but it's definitely something that'll hold him there. And Wade's a solid player that can step up and be that second option. I still believe he can play a second option kind of basketball, and he definitely has amazing chemistry with LeBron. Better chemistry than Kyrie and LeBron have now, obviously. And maybe, and this is where Kyrie comes in. If they do get rid of Kyrie and go try to get some younger players or go get some solid vets, that's totally understandable. They'll definitely go for some kind of trade where they get somebody good. I've heard about Porzingis in the mix, maybe Carmelo. They'll definitely try to get somebody solid on their team, and that's fully understandable that they're going to try to get somebody solid, but also maybe they might try to get somebody who's very young, if they believe that in 1 year this whole team will fall apart completely and they need something to stack up on. They don't exactly have the assets to do that right now, like the Celtics or other teams that have a lot of picks at their hands. So maybe they go a younger route, but in my opinion, this really helps the Kyrie situation, because Kyrie, I feel like they need to let it cool down a little bit and keep Kyrie for this 1 year, because things can change. Maybe Kyrie and LeBron are at better terms. Maybe LeBron understands that Kyrie wants more of the ball and Kyrie wants a little bit more action on his side. So maybe LeBron will step down a little bit. I'm not saying LeBron's not going to be that guy, but Dwyane Wade being there could help their relationship a lot, because clearly Wade and LeBron have an excellent chemistry together, and maybe Wade coming into the mix will make LeBron happier, and Kyrie will get more of what he wants, his share. Maybe Kyrie will understand. I think this is also on the part that Kyrie thinks, nobody can beat the Warriors. Might as well go somewhere where he's being recognized for himself. And I do believe this is somewhere down the line. The Warriors are always, in the mix for all the issues that are being caused. Clearly, if they had won the championship, I don't think Kyrie would have said anything. Or if they'd won the championship, none of this would have even came out. That's just my opinion, because because I don't know exactly, but I mean, it could be fully his opinion that he just wants his own team, but I really find that to be like an insane thing to think. And Kyrie's already on such a great team. I just believe that if Dwyane Wade came over, it could really help the situation. Obviously on LeBron's part, but maybe on Kyrie's part, because obviously the chemistry will definitely go up in terms of numbers, and they'll just be a much better team. And as for Dwyane Wade, I feel his career is at a perfect spot right now. He's a solid player. He's not like Derrick Rose that's always undermined. He just has an age issue on him. So for him, it's perfect because he goes to a guy who he already knows. He's played with LeBron. He knows LeBron's ways. He already knows that him and LeBron play excellent together. So you add him into the mix. It's great for Dwyane Wade as well, because LeBron's a guy who really revives people's careers as well. He finds a way to fit everybody in a perfect position. I feel he's definitely going to help Derrick Rose a lot, because Rose has always been undermined in these past few years, because Rose was an MVP. He's 28 years old, and I understand that he's had issues all around, but this is a point where he still has a chance to revive himself, and Dwyane Wade doesn't really need a revival. But if there's one guy that can definitely get as much out of Dwyane Wade as possible, it's LeBron James, because LeBron has played with him and he knows how Dwyane Wade plays. They're comfortable with each other, but it's also, LeBron's a guy who can obviously makes others better. He makes and he's a pass first kind of guy. He's never been that guy that always wants the ball to himself. He's a very giving type of player. So he can obviously benefit other players a lot. So Dwyane Wade add to the mix. It's very helpful for Wade, because he'll be in the limelight again. If he stays in Chicago, Dwyane Wade's just gonna be on the side. He's only got a few years left. He needs to enjoy these years, and this is really what all players put into consideration. When you this is exactly what happens with all players. When you're reaching that end point, it's basically up to you whether you want to, stay in the corner. There's guys like Kobe who just never leave, and their loyalty, like Nowitzki, guys that have always been loyal to one team, and they want their legacy, like Tim Duncan. But Tim Duncan was lucky that he was on a team that was always good. But I'm talking teams that, let's say like Paul Pierce. Let's say if we hadn't traded Paul Pierce, he would have stayed there. Or guys that just stick through all the ups and downs of a team. They want to be there and be known for just that team and their legacy with that team, and that's fully understandable. But there's a lot of guys nowadays, and the league has kind of shifted from just being a guy who played for one team and showing all your loyalty to a guy who just in the end, it's all about, did you win rings? Did you win championships? Did you play the big moments? And Dwyane Wade's played the big moments. He has 3 rings. He definitely does not have anything shy of a Hall of Fame career. But it's his last years. I can definitely fully understand if he wants to be on a championship team, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers, playing with the best player in the world, LeBron James, who obviously will make him better. It'll just be in his interest to play on a team that benefits him. And I'm not saying Cleveland's the only team for that. He could join the Rockets, he could join the Thunder, he could join basically anybody at this point, as long as he doesn't join the Warriors, which I would hate his guts for. But as long as, and I think he knows that too, but as long as he doesn't join a team that's has no space for him or is useless for him to go to, Cleveland just makes sense because of chemistry, and because the East is better. He can definitely be more successful with them, and it's a clear cut that putting the Celtics aside and how they play, or if they ever make a trade that's amazing and can beat the Cavaliers, and clearly you guys know that I'm a Celtics fan, so always optimistic they can beat the Cavs. But let's say in this world, there's obviously not that many contenders in the East, that's for sure, and there's not many teams that'll definitely put up a huge fight. So joining the East just makes a lot of sense. At this point, the West has gotten really good. This is probably the best the West has been in years. and it's always been a very strong conference, but now it's just to a different level. You know, a lot of stars have gone there. Paul Millsap, Paul George, Jimmy Butler. You know, the West is just stacked. So it just makes sense, you know, for Dwayne Wade to join a team that he will definitely benefit a lot, but play with a guy who's amazing, and you know it's a surefire thing they'll go to the finals. And you know if they keep Kyrie, they should keep Kyrie. Kyrie just hit a clutch three again, but I really think all this will dial down if they just give it some time. You know they need to play with each other and fix you know those chemistry issues. And I really think this comes from LeBron's part, because if LeBron does want to stay here and keep this team together, he can. You know if he and I understand completely that LeBron James has always been a guy who gives it up for Kyrie in the regular season. I believe that this is Kyrie's team in the regular season. It's just for the big moments, it's LeBron's, and Kyrie has to definitely understand that. And it's a little immature for him to say that he wants his own team, because he would definitely not reach those big moments by himself. And if you put that into perspective, if he's not playing on a team that goes to the NBA Finals or even makes the playoffs. You know, if he joins the Knicks right now, they're not making the playoffs, which means that it'll only be his team for the regular season, and he already has a team that's his for the regular season. Why would it not benefit him to be the number 2 during the playoffs and the number 1 during the regular season? Because that's how it is right now. So if they let this cool down, maybe LeBron talks to him man to man, you know, I do believe this kind of stuff can actually mend ways. And you know, they've played for so long. It's understandable that maybe this can be fixed. You know, I don't think Cleveland has to take drastic measures right now. But yes, if they do get some signs from LeBron that he's about to go, or you know, if they have signs of this thing is not working, it's falling apart, then yes, they should act on it. They should get young guys, because clearly it's not going to work out, you know, because they're definitely only going to sign Dwayne Wade, let's say, for a 1-year deal, or a 1-year deal with or maybe like a 2-year deal with a 1-year opt-out player option, you know, something like that, because Dwayne Wade's definitely not going to sign that big a deal, and the Cavs aren't going to sign that big a deal with a player that's 35 plus. So it obviously makes sense that, you know, if they were to trade Kyrie halfway through the season and they're realizing this isn't working anymore, you know, it's probably because LeBron's about to leave and Dwayne Wade's going to leave. Obviously, Derrick Rose is on a 1-year deal. So it's like this whole team is going to break down, and, you know, they just want to rebuild. So, I mean, this could go a lot of ways, but I think Dwayne Wade going to the Cavs is going to be really entertaining to watch, and something that'll definitely happen. So, guys, hope for this to happen. And if you're new, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe. We've almost hit 1.2K, so get us there, guys. And we're growing really fast, so I can't thank you enough for that. So just don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and hit that like button, guys. Thanks so much. Peace.